Hi. So I'm here in Texas on the Mexican border in Laredo. I haven't recorded myself talking or anything in a while, so I figured I finally got my room all to myself. I have Texas all to myself. So now that that's a thing, I figured why not talk? I only have 30 minutes because my phone doesn't have too much memory. And I can't go live because I don't have enough subscribers, which whatever. It's fine. What does that even matter? Well, I mean, if I was able to go live, then I wouldn't have to put a restriction on what I can talk, because if I talk for 30 minutes and this thing's gonna take fucking forever to upload, and then I'm not gonna be able to do it and do another one until I delete the file off my phone and whatever. So I'm in Laredo, Texas. I'm enjoying cervezas at whatever time it is. What time is it? I think it's 10. It's a little early, but this is something I promised myself 2 days ago. That was going to take some time because I'm from New Jersey, and I didn't actually plan on being here. This was kind of a last minute trip that fell in my lap, helping my friend move his father-in-law to Mexico. So I feel I feel like doing this right now. About 3 cervezas deep. Coronas, actually. But I don't really have anything else to do today except for really think about what it is I want to do from here. And I thought, why not why not get into how the hell I got here in the first place? Because this is like a long story that has been kind of culminating for the past couple of years. So so I figured I'd talk about some stuff for a little bit because I have to really get used to being more open about my experiences. Well, I don't really need to be more open about my experiences because it doesn't really matter. Um, this is more for me in the sense that I like to rationalize things and overthink things. I mean, I don't and overthink things. So by recording myself talk, it helps me to verbalize my feelings and my thoughts, but also at the same time, in the background of my mind, to break down a lot of things and see them for what I think they are, what I believe they are. So, so a little bit about me. A little bit about me. Help me remember. Um, Around 2017, late 2017, early 2018, I went through um, what people call a spiritual awakening. It wasn't something I was planning. It was just something that kind of like just I don't even want to say it just occurred, because being able to think back and look back on on a lot of significant events in my life, I could see how, and this comes off weird, but I could see how the events of my life, since early times, since I was a little guy, kind of really led to this whole thing happening. Because when I was younger, I was very weird. I like to spend a lot of time by myself, and during my own adventures, I just always felt different and had a hard time fitting in with people because of what I was experiencing in my head. which wasn't easy to talk about because people don't talk about stuff like that. What was going on in your head? That's a good question. I would hear things, voices, not voices so much, but it was almost as if there was two of me. There was, at the very least, two. Right now, I can count a little bit more than that, but it was as if I had an internal person, but then there was also me who did my did my own thing, school, friends, but always in the back of my mind, there I always felt this. I don't want to call it a calling, but I always felt that that I wasn't being. How do I explain it? It's really hard to explain. It was as if I was living a completely different life in my head than I was in the real world. In the sense that, how do I explain that? Think of it like living a movie in your head, but trying to blend in real life, and that's a lot of what was going on with me. So I always used to almost make believe that a lot of the things that I saw in my head weren't real. That a lot of my thoughts and experiences were just in my head. And I mean, granted, yeah, they were, because when you're in your head all the time, that's kind of where you live most of your life. So growing up, I would always ignore signs, synchronicities. Not that I knew what any of that stuff was. I really didn't. I always thought that there was something wrong with me. But being able to look back now, I can see and say that there's always been this sort of internal guidance system that's been directing me down a specific path. And oddly enough, it brought me to Laredo, Texas, which is fun. I like this place. I like Texas a lot. Too much, I think. So, over the course of the past several weeks, I've just been on this kick where not not over the past couple of weeks because, like I said, this has been going on for a while. But more recently, I have been coming more. I've been able to come to grips with a lot of the experiences that I've been having, which some of them are really not that they're unexplainable or supernatural, though both of those terms would fit nicely with with my experiences, because once I had learned what synchronicity was and the deeper spiritual aspects of a spiritual awakening, if that's what you want to call it, it's called lots of things. That's just the first term that comes to mind, because in terms of spirituality, I don't really have spiritual beliefs. I mean, I do and I don't. I don't follow religion. I don't practice any kind of rigid ideals or practice practices per se. I kind of just march to the beat of my own drum. I've studied a lot of stuff and I've taken bits and pieces here and there and see how I can apply them into my own life. Thrown away things, kept things, but um, like I said, the more that I am able to think backwards and reconcile a lot of my experiences, it's become clear to me that there is a lot more to existence, to our lives, than just what we think there is. I mean, there's clearly, at least in my opinion, and granted, this is all my own conjecture, if you want to call it that, but these are my beliefs, and my beliefs are based on my experiences. And people say that the personal experience isn't uh, isn't valid. I disagree. I think personal experience is the most valid explanation for anything, because if you can't personally experience something, how do you know it's real? You know what I mean? I mean, otherwise you're taking other people's words for what reality is. And I mean, reality is however you make it. And it's not to say that you aren't, it's not good to believe other people, because, yeah, no, it's good. It's good to take in what other people have to say, because when you take in what other people have to say, then it kind of gives you a little bit of a foundation of what is and what isn't. Though at the same time, I believe it's really important for you to, I say you, but I mean me, to to really explore some of the things that you learn over your life, because I've seen that a lot of people, they put their faith in the words of other people instead of really digging into certain topics and certain areas of life. So that's something that I learned to do late in life. Unfortunately, I'm a late bloomer. That it took me a while to really build up the mental fortitude and courage to really go, fuck it. Let me jump into something that I have no idea what it is. And for instance, I I, I I've studied multiple forms of mysticism, esotericism, occultism, religion, philosophy, shit like that. And there's always this there's always one little thing that kind of connects everything else back together. And when you pay attention to what's going on around you, you start to see how those concepts and those ideas really play an important role in the things that we do. That sometimes the things that we do subconsciously or unconsciously, and how the subconscious, unconscious mind really do affect the conscious mind as well, and how to make those non-conscious aspects more conscious, if that makes sense. To become more consciously aware of the sub and unconscious aspects of our mental functions, mental, emotional, and if you want to go spiritual functions. Not everybody is spiritual, and I'm not saying everybody needs to, because spirituality, it's just a word to describe all the other stuff, to encapsulate things. I mean, spirituality is what it is. Yeah, there's more to life than just paying your bills and going to your job, though your bills and your job are bigger topics than just paying the cable company and going to work at McDonald's. Job is what you do. It's not who you are. I don't need to get into the philosophy of that shit, because I don't really know what I'm talking about in that regards. I'm still trying to figure that out for myself. And once I had that figured out for myself, then, well, no, I take that back. This is my job. My job is to just follow my intuition, follow my instincts, and just go with the flow. And what comes, comes. And though I don't necessarily subscribe to planning out my life, even though I'd like to try to, I've come to learn that planning things and going, okay, I want to go from A to B, doesn't necessarily always work out the way that you want it to when you plan it out necessarily, because there's usually other factors that come in the interim, in the in between time, that shifts your perspective on things. I mean, when I first got to Laredo, for instance, the idea was I was gonna help my friend, drop my friends off, and then go home. But once I got here, I started to realize, why the fuck am I gonna go home? Why am I gonna go home? What am I going home to? I'm going home to the same shit that I was dealing with yesterday and the day before and the day before and the day before. And although mentally and emotionally every day I have a new experience, I started to realize when I got here that the opportunity, the potential of this place is greater than what I came from, if that makes sense. so now I just happen to be in a position where my friends are now gone, and I have the place to myself, and it's giving me time to think and really reconcile how I got here, why I'm here, what I'm doing here, and where I'm going from here. Which I have no idea where I'm going, but that's a really cool thing, and that's why I really wanted to record this. Is just to kind of like document what document the fact that one, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. I don't. Sometimes I think I do, but once I really put the time and effort into what it is, I start to realize I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I never do. For instance, how did I get here? Which was the point of this video. We have 15 minutes left. Um, on Halloween, take it back. Let's go even to Devil's Night, October 30th. I decided, which is something I've been working on for some time, to say fuck it and stop worrying about what other people think. Stop worrying that I'm going to come off crazy. Stop worrying about coming off weird. And just be myself. And fight the fear and just get over it. Kind of like what I'm doing right now. Which is, like, if you watched any of the earlier videos, if you're even watching this, like if you go back to the very beginning, the very first video that I did, which is almost similar to this one. Now that I think about it, I was lying in bed when I recorded it, when I had my dream about Picard. What the hell's his name? I forgot. You gotta go back to the first video and watch it. Sorry, I'm just trying to remember what I was just saying, but Devil's Night, what was I saying? Overcame something that was really troubling me, and it was just as simple as a Facebook post that I did about some tarot cards that I wanted to present to people, and I wanted to do it in a weird and fun way for Halloween, because I practice reading cards and other forms of divination from time to time when I feel like it. And it was, in my opinion, one of my most favorite readings, because it basically, what it was saying was, stop giving a fuck and just go and do. Think about, I mean, yeah, you think about where you want to go, what you want to do, and figure out what's holding you back, because once you figure out what's holding you back from doing that thing, yeah, you know what, you may not ultimately end up doing that, but the opportunity to do something similar and to expand and grow and move on will present itself. So the next day, I decided to take some of my own advice. Plus, I got some channeled messages that told me to do something very specific, which was go and stay with my grandmother. And so I did. And within 10 hours, an opportunity came across to go on a cross-country trip to Laredo, Texas, which is where I am now. And there was some really interesting things that happened in between, some cancellations and people I met and experiences that really pointed me in the direction of, yeah, you really need to do this. You have to do this. Because there's so much potential on this trip that it would be in the best interest of me to do it. So I said, fuck it, let's do it. And now that I'm here, now that I'm finally alone, which is amazing, I could see how every event in my life led me to this point. So I'm where I want to be. Not necessarily where I want to be. I've never thought about coming to Laredo, Texas before. That wasn't an interest of mine in any way, shape, or form. But being here, I could see the difference. I feel different being away from home. Well, and it's unique. I feel good. But none of that really matters. I mean, the details don't really matter. Like they matter to me, and they don't matter to anybody else because it's not anyone else's adventure except for mine. Adventure, life. So this is just that. This is just like me. I guess almost going. Okay, here's the beginning of a new chapter, which is really convenient because, and I'm a big, I'm a lunatic. I base a lot of my actions and my experiences on lunar cycles and solar cycles. You can call it astrology if you want. It's more astronomy, but it's the astrological aspects of astronomy. So both of them are kind of intertwined, even though I know the one likes to disregard the other, but they do work hand in hand. And that's not really something I'm going to get into right now because there's only like 9 minutes left. And to explain the complexities of the energetic value of energetic and mental and emotional value of astrology and astronomical phenomenon would take a while because I don't have the right words to use to explain it. If you understand astrology and you understand astronomy, then yeah, you could probably figure it out on your own. but that, but looking back and being able to see how some of these phenomena just happen to be coinciding with a lot of these significant events in my life right now, it's just really interesting. And I don't mind getting into it later, but like I said, I don't have enough time, and I don't feel like doing this all day because it's a long discussion. And like I said, this is for me. This isn't for anyone's approval at the moment. Though I don't mind approval. I don't mind attention. I like that you're watching it. Thanks for watching, by the way. It's really great. Even if you're just calling me a crazy rambler who's been drinking since 10 o'clock in the morning. Even though it's just a fucking Corona. Not that good. Very watered down. That's just to get the shyness out of the way, which is something I'm trying to do without, and something I'm very good at because I'm not really a shy person. But right now, I promised myself, like once I get the room to myself, I want to just chill for a day and have a couple fucking beers and let my mind go to weird places. And one of the places was, hey, why don't you just record yourself talking for whatever amount of time this is, and just get it out of the way. because I have a lot of other things I have to do and prepare for because Laredo is, as lovely as Laredo is, it's definitely not where I want to spend the rest of my trip here. Plus, as this journey continues, I would like to at least keep some kind of documented what's the word? Some kind of documentary of my little journey because knowing me and knowing my life and knowing how I've recorded these things since my first video, it's an interesting progression from where I was to where I am to where I'm going. And I don't want to get all into the woo-woo stuff because not everybody's into that stuff. It requires an open mind. But at the same time, I am fully invested in a lot of the woo-woo stuff. But I have good reason to because I've seen the value of it. I've seen the practicality of it, and it's something that I'd like to portray out to other people. Though, for me, these recordings are more so that I know I'm not crazy, which is a big thing. Because once you delve into the unknown, it requires you to let go of things. And sometimes the things you have to let go of is your sanity. And allow yourself to just go fucking crazy. Crazy in the sense that you just let go of what you think reality is and how things should be. And what I found is when you do that, you start to realize that there's a lot more that's going on than just what you see and what people tell you to think and feel. And it's been one of the biggest benefits to me to let go of my personal beliefs and or at least adjust them, adjust and modify them, because there's value to it. There's value to letting go of who you were and what you used to believe, because you'll notice, or what I've noticed is that there's a much bigger world out there. In my mind right now, I'm envisioning Obi-Wan talking to Luke as they stare over Mos Eisley Station. Mos Eisley. You've taken your first steps into a much bigger world. Which is true. For me. I can't say that this is going to work for everybody. And even when I really first started getting into outside of the box thinking, we'll call it, I had met a lot of people who, not that they fully understood what I was saying, but they at least understood what I was saying, some of it. And I would always say to people, do not do what I'm doing because I don't know what's going to happen. But the more that I am, the more I experience, the more that I'm saying, fuck it, you know what? Fuck it, quit your job. Quit your job, leave your family. Do whatever the hell you want. Do whatever it is that you're feeling, because what you'll find out is, yeah, it's scary. Yeah, you get fucked up. Yeah, bad shit will happen, but it all balances itself out, and it all works out in your benefit to one degree or another. Even dropping a bowling ball on your foot is a beneficial experience if you can figure out how to learn from it and learn not to fucking do it again. And you can take the bowling ball as a metaphor. You don't really have to drop a bowling ball on your foot. Though I did once. I'll wrap up with this, but I almost broke my leg bowling once. I went bowling with this girl I was dating at the time, and I had one or two White Russians, which is alcoholic beverage. And when I went to go bowl, I overstepped onto a freshly resined lane and slipped. The momentum of stretching back with a 13 pound ball, plus my foot on the freshly resined slippery lane, kicked my weight, my center of balance out, and I face planted right onto the bowling lane. My arm fell backwards or went backwards because that's just the natural motion of bowling, and the ball popped off my hand, went up into the air as I face planted, and as it landed on my right shin, or the calf rather, and put my leg out of commission for a couple hours. Didn't break, luckily. My face hurt, my leg hurt, but luckily I had those White Russians to calm me down. So what's the moral of the story? Nothing. That's it. I just wanted to talk for a couple minutes, and I only have 10 seconds left on